Good morning. Welcome to the weekly Wednesday Wisdom Call. My name is Marty Forrest. I am the host of this call every week. Happens every Wednesday, 9 o'clock. So you can join live, great. If not, they're all recorded for your convenience and when you can listen or re-listen. You can find all these recorded calls on the website, helloextraordinarylife.com, under Insider Calls. You can also grab your free guide to 3 steps to reprogramming your negative self-talk. It's evolving. That name is evolving. I'm working on where it's going to go next because I want something a little more positive, but that works for now. So 3 steps to reprogramming your negative self-talk. It's a clear statement. Beginning middle of July, I will begin another course, 6-week course, July the 14th, I believe it is. It's a Saturday morning, 8 to 9. Yep, July 14th. We'll begin that for a 6-week course. You can find that information, more information on that on the website also. And I will be posting more information too as it gets a little closer. Today we are talking about keeping it simple. It is a slogan. It is an easy-to-remember cliche that many of us have heard or have said or have used or remind ourselves of. And it was rolling around in my head. So I don't remember what prompted that thought. I can't remember what occurred, and I just kept thinking about that, keeping it simple. It could have just been about me because I like to complicate things. And I don't do it as much today. What I know is I met someone just yesterday, and she was talking about her relationship, and she said it's complicated. And I just thought, isn't that another cliche that we say often? It's complicated. To label, true or not true, I don't really know. Human beings are diverse, many-faceted, many-layered experiences in human beings, and my phone's dinging in, so I'm trying to not be distracted by that. So we're just, as a human being, we have many different layers of experiences, feelings, spirituality, all these things that we qualify or label as complicated. And truly, it is simply our perspective is the first thing, and it's being human. It's a part of being human. I met someone yesterday he just lost his mom a couple months ago, and he's like, I'm working through it. I said, there's really no way to work through that. You simply walk through it and feel it, because there's so many layers of feeling that come with life. It's not just loss, but it's life. And many of us want to understand first. We want to understand things first, and then so we'll know what to expect. And the truth of the matter is there is no knowing. There's no knowing or understanding anything until we have an experience of it. I can tell you all day long what it's like to fast, but you really don't have any concept or knowledge unless you've done it yourself. And then it's still different. It's still your own experience, right? Or driving a car. Nobody knew how to drive a car until we drove a car. Sometimes we just want to understand it, and sometimes it's helpful to have some new understanding that helps us shift the perspective we hold, because that does make it simpler. The context I am thinking of today, and when I wrote about this and keeping it simple, is to keep it simple. We often, I use the example in the email about going to the gym. I'm going to get in shape all at once today, and then in 2 weeks when I'm not seeing ripped muscles or weight loss or inches lost, I quit, or I slow down, or I have some other thing that becomes a priority because I'm not getting the results that I think I should have right away. It's the same thing in relationships. I was considering this on my way home when I was early in recovery and realized that I had been allowing myself to be abused. I've been abused my whole life. by what we label it abuse, emotional, spiritual abuse, words. We got spanked as kids. I don't really call it. And when I realized that I'm being abused and I'm continuing to allow myself to be abused, of course, that's all external. It's all you're doing to me, so I swing to the other extreme. Now nobody's going to abuse me, and everyone's going to pay for the abuse that I've allowed myself to experience all the way up till whatever time that was. It was in my 20s. So now I've gone to the other extreme. Keeping it simple is simply, let's observe. Because I've not just allowed it. Why do I allow it? Why do I allow myself to be treated certain ways? I allow it because that's what I do to myself. I would never allow it if I didn't do it to me first. And truth be told, at that time in my life, if myself as a person were my friend, externally, we would not be friends. I promise. Because that was not very nice to me. Right? The only way someone is going to treat me in an abusive way or a way that's less than stellar, less than respectful, whatever word you want to put there, is because that's what I do to me. First and foremost, I do it to me. Otherwise, I would never allow someone else to treat me that way. It just wouldn't happen. First of all, I wouldn't attract it because I don't do it to myself. And second of all, if it did happen, I'd respect myself enough to either leave the situation or call it out, or I'd handle it appropriately. I'm suggesting, offering, in the way of keeping things simple, is we pick one thing, only one, that we'd like to make different. Maybe it's something like allowing ourselves to feel. This may be challenging. Allowing ourselves to feel. Because often we dismiss, we disengage, we disconnect. We have several behaviors that show up to become defensive and deflect and avoid and distract from feeling. Now, you notice I said pick one thing. I'm saying let's simply feel our feelings. I'm not saying to do anything about it. I'm simply saying feel. Acknowledge the feeling. Allow myself to be uncomfortable. Allow yourself to be uncomfortable. This may be too challenging to start with. Maybe it's something like I stop yelling at my kids all the time. Maybe the change that's simple, keeping it simple, is to pause and breathe before I react. That's probably a little easier to implement. Triggered. I'm triggered. Pause. Right? Whatever the trigger is. Somebody cut me off in traffic, let's just say. Pausing, all I mean by pausing is to take a deep breath. Pause, right? That's a moment. That's a 2-3 second breath of pausing prior to responding instead of reacting. So pick something. If there's something that you might like to make different in your world, pick only one thing. And do that one thing. Instead of, like many of us, let's do it all at once. I'm in a course, and it was a cleanse. And the coach asked what behavior we were going to implement, what change or what thing were we going to do different. And someone wrote down this list of 5 things. And I read the list, And I already had my own thought about it. And the coach actually says, that's a lot. I would encourage you to pick one of those, maybe two of those, in the way of how we eat and treat our body in this process of cleansing. It's all connected, right? There's no separation. I wrote down, I answered the question and said, I'm going to chew my food more thoroughly. That's the one thing I'm going to do. I'm going to chew my food more thoroughly, which starts the pre-digestion, which helps to nourish my body, which slows down my eating. You see the ripple effect? So I picked one thing instead of 5, because more than 1 or 2 is a setup for failure. We just, as a human being, it's keeping it simple means let's do 1 because 1 is going to affect everything. And when you implement the 1 and now you're in the habit of the one thing, then down the road, they say it takes 21 days to implement a new habit. You implement the next thing. And how you implement things are ways of whatever your trigger is that causes, that creates the behavior, or habitual behavior. I've talked about this before. You have a cue, trigger, let's say, but let's use things that we're already doing. So if I know my person here on the phone, she makes herself breakfast every morning. So maybe assume the trigger is breakfast, and you want to implement going for a walk. Just an example. When you're done with breakfast, you go for the walk. So you already have the cue. You add a little extra time because it's going to take a little time. And then you move on with your day. I found implementing some movement in my day had to begin first thing in the morning. So I get up, I drink some water, I go to the bathroom, and I do sometimes only 5 minutes of a sun salutation, which is a yoga practice. Sometimes I do 20 minutes, which includes the sun salutation and some other yoga moves. But what I found is I had to do it first thing in the morning, because once my day is going, it's not going to happen. If my husband gets up with me, that habit, if I can get in 2 sun salutations, which takes less than 5 minutes, I could hold the poses longer, obviously, and take longer than 5 minutes. But the point is, I keep that habit going, because if I don't, I'll stop. I'll find some reason down the road to stop, even though I've implemented the habit. When it becomes too inconvenient, it goes away. So if I keep it going no matter what, so as soon as I get up, that's my cue. I get up. My cue now is I get up, I go to the bathroom, I drink some water, some order like that. And then I do my work, my exercise. Then I go make the coffee. So my reward is I go make the coffee. Then I go shower and go about the rest of my day. So it makes it a little easier and simpler to implement it when you already have something in place. A little more complicated might be that I want to change some attitude I carry. Sometimes the behavior might be a gratitude journal in the morning, right? So now I've set the tone for my day. I do mine in the morning when I write a gratitude. I'm not doing that right now. When I actually do it, it was in the morning because that set the tone. And it helped me to shift whatever attitude or whatever I woke up with. I would set the tone by writing a gratitude journal. And not just the gratitude, I would write why I'm grateful for that thing. Because that would drop me from my head to my heart. So the implementation is implementing it where you already have something that's now your trigger that says, oh, I just got up in the morning, I went to the bathroom, I drank some water, now I do my exercise. Then I make my coffee. All right, so I've added something that takes a little time, so I get up a few minutes earlier. I'm up early anyway. It could be your kid comes home, and I know you have a teenager, so, your kid comes home, he's got an attitude. You pause, right? You take that moment, and maybe you change the question. So maybe your behavior is, you change the question. Instead of, how was your day, or what happened, it's, what was good about your day? What fun thing did you do today? Something that shifts your focus to engage in something a little more positive with your child. And that can go with anyone. But keeping it simple is choosing. Really the basic of this is choosing one thing you want to be different. And implement that one. And then build on that. And implement it in a place where you already have something that triggers you, whether it's a positive or negative. It could be that you, brushing your teeth in the morning, and then then you want to do floss. I don't floss. I'm guilty. But if I wanted to floss, the brushing my teeth, and then that would be my trigger to start flossing, right? So there's some things that are already in place. Instead of trying to work on willpower to make changes, that's why only one at a time, maybe two, depending on how complicated or difficult it is. Behaviorally, I think one of the most important things is that pause, that moment to breathe. Because the moment you take a deep breath, it shifts your focus to go internal, and it changes your body chemistry, and you're able to actually start responding to your life instead of reacting to it. So I think I've said a lot, and I have no idea what time it is because my computer stopped. It went dark. Yes, I'm at a good time, so I'll stop there. And inquire. What did you get? Any aha moments? Anything valuable out of that?
Yes, I like that, to add on to something already in place, or to change something that you already have in place. That way, it doesn't feel like everything around it has to be new. You can just work with some. It makes sense. Like after breakfast, going for a walk. Tag it on to something that I'm already doing, and it just made sense in my mind. That works. And choosing only one thing, that would be nice too. I've tried asking what was good about your day, but clearly what I need to do is give them 5 or 10 minutes after they get home, and that is something I need to do. Give them time to get home and adjust and relax, because the moment they walk in, I'm asking them a question, because I'm ready to, talk, but they aren't. So that's definitely something I'm going to have to do. And that would put, a good spin on, if I give them time to wind down and then chat, they might actually want to.
I like that.
I will definitely do that. Yes, I will definitely do that. That and the walk thing. I know that's 2, but I like them both, and they're both doable.
Yeah, some things are real simple to implement, and that's why I say 1 or 2. That reminded me of my second husband. He would come in, and I would do the same thing, and I would start this barrage of questions or chatting or talking, and he needed the time to decompress.
Yes.
So that's what I heard when you say when your children come in, and give them that space to decompress and then reacclimate to being home.
Yep. Absolutely, and that's only fair. That's what I want.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's effective for you too, to learn how to do our own decompression.
That way I don't get a resentment because they didn't want to talk to me. Well, it's not always all about me.
What?
Yeah.
It's not always all about me? Are you sure?
I know. I'm asking about them, and I'm always thinking, I was like, I'm trying to ask about how your day was, I'm trying to be nice, and that's just in my messed up backward thinking.
Oh, it's to change the habits.
Well, yeah, to get good results for everybody.
Well, and it's what we know. If it's what we know, it's what we know. So we've been taught. If that's how it has been for us, then that's how it is.
Yes.
I think it's important to remember it's not a bad and wrong. It's simply what we know, and looking at, is it effective or not? Does it work effectively? And then creating a space of win-win for all of you.
Yeah.
I had someone tell me a mentor one time said, just let him talk until he's done. You will have time to talk. And I'm like, what? What do you mean let him talk first? It's all about me. And when I did that, lo and behold, that it actually did work. Yeah, because there was a space for me. Yeah. Yep. Thank you for joining the call today.
Thank you. Very appreciated.
Awesome. I'm working to get online because I'm on my tablet and I'm hoping it actually recorded. So I'm not sure it actually stayed recording. I can't find the button to turn the recording off.
I was wondering about that. I heard on my end it said the recording had started.
Yes. Okay, good. I heard that part too. And now this layout on my tablet is different, so I'm not sure how to actually turn it off because it's not as user-friendly. Pardon me?
I will let you go then, because maybe hanging up will do that.
Well, it will.
Yeah.
It will. We'll get to the meeting wall here.
And I will talk to you tomorrow.
Perfect. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too, Marty. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.